After the first and second round, I was very comfortable. I ran the turn technically very good. I built up into the turn and I came out with a lot of momentum and I was comfortable. I was in a very good position, so I didn't really have to work any harder, which is what I wanted to be in. But I wanted to make sure I worked the hard turn in the semi-final and the final, so I didn't get myself in a silly situation where I'm getting lane one. So I worked the turn and I ran it a little bit too hard, to be fair, which kind of I faltered slightly at the end, but in the final I took it to another level again, which I probably shouldn't have in hindsight. I should have built it up and then have the momentum come out of the turn and then bring it home quite strong, and I could have got silver. Well, I don't think I would have run 20.01 to beat Francis, but the Swede, I think he got another 0.3 on top of his time with the crowd and how many thousands that are here. So I'm reasonably happy, although I expected more of myself, and I hear you guys expecting more of me as well. So.
Oh, you've already heard.
I have heard.
So what do you want to say to them?
I do want something to say to both of you, actually. Nothing incriminating at all, but I've not heard into you exactly before, but questioning my conditioning to running the 200 in question. So I'd like to ask you a question: how can I improve on that?
Well, I think one of the things I wanted to ask you was, I know it's not fair to ask you a question when you ask me one first.
Yeah.
In order to answer your question, I want to ask, how did you feel? Because what I wanted to say was, I thought that throughout all of the rounds, your execution was perfect. I kept looking for something that I could find in your execution to say, to explain why you're not running faster than 20.5. Right. Because I know you're better than that.
Yeah.
And you know you should be running faster than that. I'm checking around. Has been any injuries? No injuries. Everything's good. So I'm trying to figure out what, and I can't find anything technique-wise, so that would tell me that it's speed endurance.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you then, do you feel like you've done the speed endurance work this year that would lend itself to you being able to actually finish that race with the same momentum? Because I hear you saying, well, maybe I should have not run the curve as hard, but I don't think that's the way to go. I think you keep running the curve hard because you're a very good curve runner. You want to use that to your advantage, make some adjustments in training so that you can then take that momentum off the curve and carry it on through the
I think Commonwealth, that was my problem, the lack of speed endurance, because it was in March and I couldn't actually implement the training to do that. So coming out of Commonwealth, my point was to work hard on that. I did a lot of work with the 400 metre guys to work on my conditioning. I executed my turn too aggressively. I didn't use longer strides. I was running it like I was running 100 metres or even a 4x1 relay, where you can just hit it as hard as you can and not worry about running another 100. I wanted to win it. I didn't go there just to come third. So for me to win it, I need to put Francis under pressure, and especially the Swedes. That was my plan at the get-go. So I worked really hard, although it didn't come through at the end, because I got to 150. I thought, I can't do any more. I've just got to try and relax and maintain.
You know, I'm not questioning your level of commitment to conditioning. Running the 200 meters, as you know, it's a very difficult event to train for because of what you're asking your body to do. You're asking your body to go out there and give me 90 to 100% effort for a very long way.
Right.
So speed endurance is very important. So as I said, I was looking for anything I could find technique-wise and execution-wise that you were doing wrong, and I couldn't find anything. Right. So again, that takes me to the speed endurance situation, and maybe a lack of that. And a lot of coaches don't know how to get that done. You know, they'll say, hey, he's a 200-meter runner. We need him to be stronger. Let's put him over with the 400-meter runners for a while. But that's not necessarily the answer, because that's just giving you endurance, but not speed endurance. Speed endurance, you may have to do some speed workouts with very short workout, you know, because normally when you do speed, on a speed day, it's full recovery. And that's great for pure development of pure speed. Right. But speed endurance, now you've got to kind of incorporate a little bit of conditioning into your speed work. So those are workouts that can help you with that. The other thing, though, also is because of what you're asking your body to do, you got to have some 200s running leading up to a 200 meter. You didn't run a lot of 200s leading up to this particular competition. So now you get in here and you're saying, okay, let's go and deliver, and your body's saying, no, let's not.
I think that was a lack of opportunity to run the 200 meters. Not very many 200 meters leading up to a championship. So I was running a lot of 100s by default just to get a race out and keep my head mentally prepared to come here and run well. And it helps my starts as well and being aggressive at the start. But you're right, I didn't run as many 200 I'd like to, but I didn't have the chance to because there wasn't any 200 to run. Well, you caused me to eat a bit of humble pie yesterday. I'm making the most of it. Michael is the expert, so to hear what he actually said, it's for me a huge learning curve too. I mean, the lack of 200, whose fault is that? Aren't there any around Europe? I think it didn't fit into my plan. The lack of in Europe, a lot of people at the moment are doing semi-final finals into hundreds, and that seems to bring the crowds in, I presume. So maybe it's I don't know, financial reasons, and there wasn't very many 200s the way I wanted to run the 200 on a decent track. To get the qualifying time alone was quite difficult. By chance, I ran last minute. They decided to run in Athens, so I got a chance to run and get my qualifying time there. That was just by chance because they weren't going to run it. It wasn't down on the schedule. They put one in because of their local athletes needed the qualifying time and they want someone to actually chase. So I stepped up. I need to get my qualifying time as well, so we can work together to work. So hand on heart, if you felt if you'd have raced the distance more, you'd have definitely got more out of yourself this year. Yeah, I could have made the mistake I did in the final, maybe the semi-final there, and then be able to work on that at a later date. So yeah, definitely. I'm still learning. I'm 30 years old. I'm still learning now. It changes from year to year, which is what I'm beginning to find out now. My mental preparation 2 years ago has changed from what it was last year. Now this year, although I'm running a lot quicker now, so I'm still learning. I still feel I can really put down some special times. So.
I think, though, again, just to go back, because what I just heard you say was that if you had some more 200s, you could have made the mistake that you made in the final in those races. But I don't think that was a mistake made in the final. Okay. I think that if you had some 200s, you could have done what you did in the final, because that's what you need to do, ultimately, and still be able to come through. Yeah. So because what I don't want to see you do is go back and change now your race strategy, because you're on track with the strategy. Okay. It's the training. All right. So, keep doing what you're doing in the race. Okay. Okay. Make the adjustments in training. All right.
It's worrying, isn't it, though, that you can't find the races?
That is worrying, but I mean, as I'm around sometimes on the international circuit, I don't see many British athletes on the international circuit, and maybe you can explain, but I've often wondered why that is. I think this year, because of the Commonwealth, you took a lot of time out, and then coming back, you have to do your warm-up training later, so it means you come back to run the season later. That means you miss some of the races, early door races, but you have to put that work in to run well in the championships, is what we're preparing for. So in hindsight, maybe the Commonwealth was kind of a setback slightly, although I learnt a lot from it, so kind of a pros and cons about Commonwealth there.
Yeah, great. But before you go, we must ask you about the relay and how things going, how's the baton changing? Yeah, we did a bit of baton changing today, actually, just ticking over stuff, which was good. We're very confident. Excellent. That's all I have to say.